We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. Jones and Adam here with you. Let's get right to it. It's our weekend recap brought to you by Wells Fargo. Adam, let's start with football and a productive weekend for Carolina football, even though the Tar Heels didn't play. Of course, the Heels were enjoying their second open date of the season, but Adam, due to some other results around the league, Carolina actually strengthened its position pretty significantly within the Coastal Division.
The ideal scenario for what might happen on Carolina's open weekend actually did happen. Pittsburgh lost to Louisville late on Saturday night. Louisville defense played really well against Pitt. Of course, the Tar Heels will see the Panthers this coming weekend in Kenan Stadium. And then Duke takes advantage of 8 Miami turnovers and beats the Hurricanes. So those results put together with Carolina being idle, Tar Heels now have 0 losses. Everybody else in the Coastal has at least 2. So it's a good position to be in, but Mac Brown told his team over the weekend, it is not the end position, it is only the position right now, and you have to keep playing in order to carry on and potentially have a chance to win the Coastal.
Virginia defeating Georgia Tech on Thursday night last week was beneficial as well for the Tar Heels, but as Adam alluded to, Coach Brown very adamant that he wanted his team to focus just on Pitt, and that is the next opponent, Adam. And it's an 8 o'clock start Saturday night, Kenan Stadium. It's sold out. We'll be on the air radio-wise at 7 p.m. And no other way to put it. I mean, this is a huge game for the Tar Heels. A win here would go a long way.
It's homecoming. You've got your home crowd. You're sold out. You're playing a huge Coastal Division game to really put yourself firmly in the driver's seat. Tar Heels are going to be challenged. Pitt's got an impressive running game. Louisville did a pretty good job against it, but Tar Heels, as we know, going to need to be strong along the defensive front in order to have the same success that Louisville did, and you need that Carolina offense to keep scoring points.
Israel Abanikanda, the running back for Pittsburgh, leads the ACC 4th in the nation in rushing yards per game. He actually leads the country in all-purpose yards per game, so a really effective player that certainly has Carolina's attention. We will be joined, speaking of football, on the video pod. Our interview this week is with Kamari Morales, Tar Heel tight end, who with a touchdown against Duke in Carolina's last game a couple weekends ago, now has 10 career touchdowns. That's the most ever for a Tar Heel tight end. So we'll talk to Kamari about that and some other stuff coming up tomorrow with our video pod interview. But Adam, let's move on here. Let's go to basketball. Season right on the cusp. Carolina's first game of the year against Johnson C. Smith coming up Friday night in the Smith Center. The women get started soon as well. And individually, we're starting to see some of these preseason awards and watch lists come out, and the Tar Heels well represented.
It's that time of year when everybody is putting out their individual honors. Armando Bacot selected to the Associated Press preseason All-America team, as you see there, member of the first team. Caleb Love is on the Cousy Award watch list. That's for the nation's best point guard. Keep in mind they're going to narrow that list. R.J. Davis could be added onto that at a later date. Alyssa Usby on the Cheryl Miller Award watch list for the nation's best small forward. And, of course, also women's basketball, Deja Kelly, one of the nation's best point guards, and that's why she's on the Nancy Lieberman Award watch list. As Tar Heels men and women, the men number 1 in the country, the women number 12 in the country, both teams expected to have really strong seasons starting this coming Friday.
And Adam, I was going to mention Friday, 7:30, Carolina in the Smith Center against Johnson C. Smith. Not only the first opportunity, of course, to see the Tar Heels compete against somebody else this season, but there are a lot of special things going on around this game as well.
This is going to be a fun night at the Smith Center. You got a lot of people in town in Chapel Hill for the football weekend. Come on out to the Smith Center on Friday night. It's the 25th anniversary of the 97, and we'll throw 98 in there too, Final Four teams, and a bunch of members of those teams are going to be back in Chapel Hill for this game. A lot of players from these teams are still involved in basketball, so this was the game that worked best with their schedules to all be in attendance. You'll see a lot of folks you're very familiar with who you cheered on at the Smith Center. Carolina also going to honor Ademola Okulaja, who of course was a member of both of those teams, who unfortunately passed away this summer after a battle with cancer. And as part of that recognition, folks are going to have the opportunity to celebrate whoever they support who is standing up against cancer. There'll be cards you can fill out on the concourse before the game. That'll be a part of the in-game ceremony. So from tip to end, there's going to be a ton of stuff going on with the 97 and 98 teams Friday night at the Smith Center. Also, a basketball game against Johnson C. Smith, the nation's best team in the country. So it should be a fun night.
Of course, and as Adam alluded to, what a weekend in Chapel Hill. You can go men's basketball on Friday night, football on Saturday night, several Olympic sports in town as well, so should be a great weekend. We encourage you, of course, first and foremost, to be in the Smith Center if you can. If you can't join us in person, that game is available via ACC Network Extra, and we will have coverage on the Tar Heel Sports Network. We'll cover that game like a traditional basketball broadcast, so we'll be on the air at 6:30 with the game slated to start right around 7:30. Okay, Adam, a lot more going on as well. That includes field hockey. I'm gonna use a media term here, Adam. I'm gonna lay out and let you take control here with Carolina field hockey.
Carolina field hockey has clinched the top seed in the ACC tournament, which happens next week in Durham. The Tar Heels did that by beating Virginia on Friday. It was 3-1. They then went ahead on senior day against number 9 St. Joe's and just smashed them 6-0. It was a fun one. Tar Heels get a hat trick from Riley Heck. She's a freshman who now has 2 hat tricks in her past 3 games, having a great freshman season. Of course, you know about Erin Matson, 3 goals and 3 assists over the weekend. She's now moved up to 3rd all-time in the NCAA in goals, 2nd all-time at Carolina in assists. Tar Heels back in action this weekend, final regular season game. They'll be at Duke. Might be a chance to come Cascada with me as the Tar Heels take on the Blue Devils over in Durham. That's the final regular season game of the year, but then they'll go back to Durham for the ACC tournament next week, Jones. I know you'll be there.
Oh, okay, here we go. Done with field hockey. Thank you for Field Hockey Corner, Adam. Women's soccer, 14-3 overall, 7-2 in conference play. They are number 2 in the nation. Big weekend for them. They had the Florida doubleheader there and beat number 4 Florida State in Tallahassee. That was Thursday night. Then shut out Miami 4-0 on Sunday. I believe Miami had 2 shots in that game. Is that right, Adam? Just 2 shots for the Hurricanes. So pretty, when you score 4 and the other team only gets 2 shots, you got a great chance to win. Tar Heels now in a 3-way tie atop the ACC standings. And Adam, this is a team that has played well all season long. They had a couple of head-scratching losses, but just in the terms of had a lead that they let slip away. But this is a team that's playing really well right now.
And Anson Dorrance has had to juggle his lineup. The Tar Heels have dealt with some injuries, and it feels like they're getting into a little bit of a rhythm. Big part of that is the play of Allie Sentnor, a redshirt freshman, who's had a couple big goals on this Florida trip, and for that good trip, honored with ACC Offensive Player of the Week honors. Tar Heels head to Louisville on Thursday. If they win, they clinch at least a tie for the ACC regular season. Women's soccer is complicated because not everybody makes the tournament, so that's still yet to shake out over the weekend. Tar Heels, most importantly, just get a win on Thursday.
Men's golf finished up its fall season this past weekend, and Adam, boy, we're going to keep our eye open for potential wagon status here. They won the Williams Cup. That is the 3rd consecutive tournament that the guys have won. It is the first time since the mid-1980s, the 1984-85 campaign, that Carolina men's golf has won 3 consecutive team titles. They have 3 players individually in the top 20 in the nation. You've got Ryan Burnett, along with Austin Greaser and Dylan Menante. So, Adam, this is a team we've been talking about that has really been coming on. They've been close to a national title the last couple seasons, and they are positioned to be in that mix again this year.
Fall season is over for the Heels, which was a great one. They'll get back in action starting in February. I think winning 3 tournaments in a row is wagon status.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
But you got to do it in the spring.
All right, let's go through these final things quickly. We'll start with volleyball. Great weekend, swept NC State, then beat Duke. The combined score in that game was 6 positives for the Tar Heels, just 1 negative set. Duke was able to take 1 from them. Anita Babick was the ACC Freshman of the Week for the 2nd consecutive week, nearly 70 assists on the weekend. Former podcast guest Mabry Schaffmaster, now double-digit kills in 11 straight. Tar Heels chug on this weekend, have host number 10 Georgia Tech, and then Clemson in Carmichael this weekend. Men's soccer tied BC. They host Virginia senior day this Friday. They're trying to get better position in the ACC tournament, and swimming and diving. The men and women sweep a dual meet at UNCW. They won 29 of the 32 events in that dual meet. Their next action early November 5th against South Carolina. So a lot going on around Chapel Hill. Thanks for being with us to recap it all here on the Carolina Insider.